So the underground rap scene isn't moving forward like it used to, and something needs to change. Why do underground rappers struggle to break out now? What is holding them back? I want to talk about that today. What's going on, y'all? It's willarmani. I hope everybody's staying positive. If you're new here, please make sure to subscribe. Got more content on the way. Let's get into it. The underground used to be so exciting and so innovative, and I remember when I was in high school, I used to be so excited to hear all the new underground artists coming out. Now, I'm going to give you some context. I was in high school between 2016 and 2020, so in my opinion, one of the greatest SoundCloud eras. I was able to experience X and Juice and Peep and all these different underground artists that were constantly coming out and innovating and doing new and different things, not just in the underground, but for rap as a whole. There was so much innovation, there was so much creativity going around in the underground, in the golden era, as a lot of people like to call it. And I don't want to say that it's entirely the artists' fault who are coming up now, because at the end of the day, what you are influenced by, it's what's going to kind of lead to the music that you end up creating. But we have come a really long way from that golden era of underground SoundCloud kind of stuff, and people thought that we were coming back to that between 2021 and like 2023. People thought, you know, with artists like Fago, with artists like SSG Kobe and Tana, and that whole era of underground rap, people really thought that we were gonna get like a round two of the golden era. And I think every artist who I just named hasn't really been talked about recently. We're in a different place now. But why is that? Why does the underground feel so stuck? Well, one of the first reasons, I believe, is because of a lack of innovation. Before, artists really didn't have much of a choice to be innovative because everybody was quote unquote calling them mumble rappers, and everything was so intense to be discovered, and everybody was being heavily judged. Because the bar has lowered to entry when it comes to how you're able to get into rap, it's a lot different. So that innovation, we don't really see it anymore. So that's why I said we can't blame the artists entirely, because the bar was lowered so much to get into rap, not a lot of people are innovative. They're just coming out and saying, oh, well, if I can make something sound catchy and make it a hit, that's cool. And again, like, there's nothing wrong with that. I love catchy music, I love catchy songs, but there's no innovation anymore because there's no need to be innovative. So we can't really blame the artist. But I think another reason why the underground has been so stuck recently is because we have an oversaturation of similar sounds. Now, I don't want to make the argument of rap in general is oversaturated, because rap and music as a whole has always been oversaturated. There's always going to be an abundance of artists out there. But I think there's an oversaturation of similar sounding artists. But you can't really blame the artists for that. You got to blame the people who are influencing them. And again, blame, I'm not trying to say in a negative way. It's more so like, if you're going to be influenced by certain people, you're going to sound similar to those people. But because everybody is influenced by the same people, everything is sounding similar. You got artists like Playboi Carti, artists like Yeet. Everybody is being very, very, very heavily inspired by these artists. We had artists who popped out from that, like Ken Carson, Destroy Lonely, Ian, Netspend, Osama Sun. But because everybody is inspired by all the same artists, that is another thing of like, well, we don't have a lot of mainstream artists to be inspired by anymore. Everybody is inspired by the same few artists. So everything sounds very similar. Not blaming the artists themselves for this, but it's just the scape of what's happening right now. Another reason why the underground feels stuck right now to me is because attention spans, and a lot of people say like, oh, well, attention spans have always been short, but they've definitely gotten shorter than they've ever been. When I was in high school during the 2016 to 2020 era, it was such a big deal when an artist put out a music video, or an artist put out a video. Now, not only is it not a big deal, but music videos aren't really popping out like that, and they're not getting the same amount of engagement. And it's really because the attention span has been shortened. Since TikTok, every platform has switched to a short form content viewing of videos. Even videos like mine right now, they're gonna grow, but in a different way than they used to. So just as fast as a song goes viral, it's just as fast as it gets faded into darkness and nobody remembers it or nobody even talks about it. Think about every single major song and every single artist who popped out between 2020 and 2025. Most of them, and I'm not saying all of them, but most of them are either not talked about as much as they used to anymore, or they completely fell off the face of the earth. Again, cannot really blame the artists for this, but because attention spans have been shortened so much, virality allows an artist to blow up really fast, but also fall flat on their face really quickly too. With that being said, I think one thing that needs to change is the focus on virality needs to be lowered. Now, I understand going viral is a really big thing now, especially because of this age of TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and all of this short form content has really made artists feel like they have to be viral. They have to go viral in order to blow up and get big. And here's the thing, virality does cause artists to blow up really quickly. Virality does cause artists to get discovered really fast. But at the exact same time, with that viral growth, a lot of the times artists do not have a chance to do one thing, which is develop. They can't develop their sound, they can't develop their brand, they can't develop their character. It's why so many artists recently get stuck in controversy. It's why so many artists recently get stuck not knowing what direction to go into in their career, and then they fall off, or they make music that their audience doesn't really want and they don't really know what direction to go into. Artists get sprung into the mainstream so quickly And these underground artists even get sprung into the mainstream so fast that they don't have a time to develop their sound, develop their character, or develop themselves as a person. And I know that's a whole different that's a whole other conversation, but development is needed in order for longevity. We don't have underground artists lasting like that because there's no development within themselves. And again, virality, we can't blame them. I think we also just need more unique sounds, right? Because like what I was saying before, artists are all being influenced by the exact same people. If you're growing up right now, and you're between the ages of 14 and I'm gonna stretch it to like 23, 24. Those are the years where you're going to be heavily influenced by certain artists and certain things around you. So if every single artist who's popping out right now is only listening to Netspend and Osama Sun and Playboy Cardi and all these different artists, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with these artists. What I'm saying is though, when I was in high school, we had a lot more artists to be inspired by. And a long time ago, there were so many new artists popping out to be inspired by. Even if some of them were industry plants, even if some of them didn't really get their fame organically, we had more artists who say, hey, like, this is somebody I can listen to. This is somebody who actually inspires me and makes me want to do this music shit. It's a lot different now. And because that space is different, we don't have as many unique sounds. We don't have as many people who really stand out from each other. And no, this is a strong comparison, right? But if I were to tell my 30-year-old sister, hey, listen to this artist, listen to this artist, and listen to this artist. And I'm saying this artist because I don't want to name anybody specific. But if I were to put a bunch of artists from 2024 to 2025 in front of her and said, listen, there is going to be a high chance that she's going to say she thinks this is the same person. I'm not saying that everybody sounds the exact same. What I'm saying is because nothing is extremely unique and everything is extremely similar, there's not a lot of differentiation. We need more unique artists. We need more unique sounds to pop out in order for the underground to flourish the way that it used to. And then the last thing I want to touch is we need more consistency. Once an artist has a song that goes viral, or once an artist has a song that pops off, a lot of the times they just fall off the face of the earth. Consistency, I mean, everybody knows who I'm gonna bring up right now. Fago was one of those artists who I listened to and I genuinely was obsessed with his music. And I think a lot of people in the underground can feel the exact same way about that. With that said, he had a song that blew up and then completely left the face of the earth for years. Now, again, in my personal opinion, Pink Hearts was a great project, and every project he dropped after it was pretty good too. You know, we got Go Plus and we had some of these SoundCloud stuff. I think it was good. The issue is though, we don't have consistency. I feel like a lot of artists in the underground, because there's less development in careers, as soon as you pop off and get a viral song, you're getting all that clout, you're getting all of that hype around you so quickly. There's not really a chance to develop yourself as a person and realize like, okay, I have to keep this up in some way. I have to keep up what I'm doing. I have to make more music. I have to put out more projects. I have to put out more EPs. Stay consistent. When you don't stay consistent, you will not last as an artist. You just won't, because you can drop the worst music in your career, but consistency will allow people to at least keep their eyes on you. Great example of this is Trippie Redd. Now, I'm a big Trippie Redd fan. I got Trippie Redd posters around my room, but recently his music hasn't been hitting the same way that it used to. Not that it's bad, it's just not hitting the same way. I think all the music is good in my opinion, but it's not hitting the same way. But the reason why I stay around as a fan of him, and the reason why artists stay around like that, is because Trippie never stops dropping. He stays consistent, and regardless of what other people think about his music, he's fueling his fans. Every year he's dropped a bunch of projects, and we can also say that because he's dropped so many projects, that might have hurt him too. So there's a balance with consistency, but at the exact same time, staying consistent, staying in front of people's faces is what's going to propel you and make you stay and allow your career to really flourish in a different way, as opposed to you dropping a few songs here and there, like a few loosies, and then expecting people to stay for you when you wait for months to drop a project. Because attention spans are so much shorter, you low-key have to drop a lot more frequently than you used to. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's like, fill your catalog up. That's a great thing, but artists don't realize this, and as soon as the clout gets to their head, they're not pushing as hard. And I get it, because it's like, oh, okay, well, I got signed a deal and I barely did anything. Why am I gonna keep going? I get it. The motivation isn't gonna be as strong and hard to push yourself. But at the exact same time, it's the same reason why the underground isn't the same way that it used to be. So I wanna know what you guys think. Do you think the underground is stuck right now? What do you think artists need to do to change? Do you think that the underground is just in a really bad place right now? Or do you actually like what you're seeing and you just want to see more of it? Please let me know in the comments. I wanna have a discussion with y'all. I hope that everybody enjoyed this video, and I wanna make sure that you stay around with me. So please make sure to subscribe if you missed out on any of my previous content, and make sure to follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, willarmani with 2 eyes. Please stay positive.